He's standing in a Tampa courtroom, 21 years old, expecting maybe probation, community service. Worst case, a few years. His family spent the entire morning painting him as a good kid who made one terrible mistake.
I would thank all y'all by the people that
His lawyer argued his brain wasn't fully developed. Expert witnesses testified about adolescent decision-making. The defense was working. Then, Judge Christopher Nash starts reading the sentence.
The court's going to adjudicate the defendant guilty, sentence him to 9 years in the Florida State Prison. On count 2, same charge, the court will adjudicate the defendant guilty, sentence him to 15 years Florida State Prison.
9 years for the first count, 15 years for the second count. His mother collapses. His family starts screaming. This is the moment a street racer learns that killing a mother and baby at 102 miles per hour has permanent, life-destroying consequences. Let's rewind to where this nightmare actually begins. May 23rd, 2018, Bayshore Boulevard, Tampa, Florida. It's a gorgeous day. Clear blue skies. Families are out enjoying the scenic waterfront. Joggers, cyclists, parents pushing strollers. Cameron Herrin is 18 years old. He just graduated from Tampa Catholic School days earlier. His parents are proud. Their son made it through high school. Time to celebrate. The gift? A brand new 2018 Ford Mustang. Sleek, powerful, fast. Every teenager's dream car. Cameron's been driving it for exactly 2 days. On this particular afternoon, Cameron's behind the wheel with his 20-year-old brother Tristan riding passenger. His friend John Barano, 17 years old, is driving his own car, a gold Nissan Altima. They're on Bayshore Boulevard, one of Tampa's most beautiful and heavily trafficked roads. The speed limit here is 45 miles per hour for a reason. It's a pedestrian-heavy area with families, elderly people, children everywhere. But Cameron and John aren't thinking about pedestrians. They're thinking about speed, about showing off, about racing. Cameron floors it. The Mustang roars to life. John accelerates in the Altima. They're neck and neck, weaving through traffic, engines screaming. An arrest warrant would later reveal the exact speed Cameron reached before the impact. 102 miles per hour. 102 miles per hour in a 45 zone, more than double the legal limit, on a road designed for families and pedestrians. At that exact moment, 24-year-old Jessica Reisinger Raubanault is crossing Bayshore Boulevard. She's visiting Tampa from Ohio. Beautiful day. Thought she'd take her baby daughter out for a walk by the water. She's pushing 21-month-old Lilia in a stroller. They're crossing at a pedestrian ramp, which legally gives them the right of way. Jessica has no idea 2 teenagers are racing at over 100 miles per hour directly toward her. Cameron sees her too late, way too late. He slams the brakes, but physics doesn't care about panic. At 102 miles per hour, stopping distance is measured in football fields, not feet. The Mustang plows into Jessica and Lilia with catastrophic force. Jessica is thrown at least 40 feet through the air. Her body impacts the pavement like a rag doll. The baby and stroller are launched approximately 70 feet in the opposite direction. The stroller disintegrates on impact. Witnesses describe the sound as sickening, metal crunching, a mother's scream cut short. Then, silence. Emergency responders arrive within minutes. Jessica is rushed to Tampa General Hospital. She's pronounced dead shortly after arrival. Her injuries are too severe. There's nothing doctors can do. Little Lilia, just 21 months old, clings to life for one more day. But the trauma is too much for a toddler's body to handle. She dies the following day in the hospital. A mother and baby, gone, because an 18-year-old wanted to show off his graduation present. John Barano, the other racer, swerves out of the way at the last second. He avoids hitting Jessica and Lilia directly, but he's still racing. still participating in the deadly competition that made this tragedy possible. Police arrive. Cameron is standing near his destroyed Mustang, keys still in his front pants pocket. He's in shock, but not enough shock to prevent his arrest. Both Cameron Herrin and John Barano are taken into custody and charged with vehicular homicide. This should be open and shut. 2 teenagers racing, 2 people dead. Clear-cut vehicular homicide. But when investigators pull the data from Cameron's Mustang, they discover something that transforms this from a tragic mistake into evidence of a pattern. And what they find will make the judge's sentencing decision much easier. Days before killing Jessica and Lilia, Cameron had taken his Mustang onto Interstate 75 and pushed it to 162 miles per hour. Let that sink in. 162 miles per hour on a public highway. Not a racetrack, not a closed course. A highway with other drivers, families in minivans, trucks hauling cargo. This wasn't Cameron's first time driving recklessly. It was a pattern, a lifestyle, an addiction to speed and the thrill of danger. The Mustang's computer logs paint a clear picture. Cameron Herrin was a chronic speeder who treated public roads like his personal racetrack. On the day of the crash, the data shows Cameron hit 101 miles per hour on Bayshore Boulevard before impact. Some reports say 102. Either way, it's more than double the 45 miles per hour speed limit in an area known for pedestrians. This wasn't a momentary lapse in judgment. This was willful, reckless disregard for human life. Prosecutors now have everything they need: electronic evidence, eyewitness testimony, a clear timeline, 2 dead bodies. Cameron Herrin and John Barano are both charged with 2 counts of vehicular homicide and unlawful street racing. Initially, both plead not guilty, but as evidence mounts and reality sets in, John Barano makes a smart decision. He cuts a deal with prosecutors. He pleads guilty to 2 counts of vehicular homicide and a misdemeanor racing charge. His sentence? 6 years in state prison, followed by 15 years of probation. His driver's license suspended for 5 years, 200 hours of community service upon release. 6 years. That's it. Why so light? Because Barano cooperated. He accepted responsibility early. He waived his sentencing rights as a juvenile, even though he was 17 at the time of the crash. He showed remorse. Most importantly, he wasn't the one who actually hit and killed Jessica and Lilia. He was racing, yes, but Cameron's car was the murder weapon. Cameron, meanwhile, takes a different approach. He watches his friend get 6 years and thinks maybe he can do better. In December 2020, more than 2 years after the crash, Cameron enters what's called an open plea. This means he pleads guilty but doesn't negotiate a specific sentence with prosecutors. Instead, he puts himself entirely at the mercy of the judge. It's a gamble, a huge gamble. With an open plea, the judge has complete discretion. No deal, no agreed-upon sentence. The judge can go light or throw the book at the defendant. It all depends on what the judge hears during the sentencing hearing. Cameron's defense team is betting that a judge will see him as a good kid who made a terrible mistake. Young, remorseful, deserving of a second chance. They're about to find out how wrong they are. April 2021. Sentencing day finally arrives. Cameron's family and friends have prepared an emotional defense. They're going to paint him as a victim of circumstance, a boy whose brain wasn't fully developed, someone who never intended to hurt anyone. And for a few hours, it seems like it might work, until David Robinault takes the stand. April 8th, 2021. Hillsborough Circuit Court, Tampa. The courtroom is packed. Judge Christopher Nash presides. He's been a circuit judge for years. He's seen everything: murders, rapes, child abuse. But this case is different. 2 families destroyed, a community demanding justice, and a 21-year-old defendant who gambled everything on an open plea. The defense goes first. They bring in Cameron's family and friends, one by one, to testify about his character. His aunt, Kim Salter, takes the stand first. "It has been devastating for him and our family," she says, her voice cracking with emotion. Cameron's mother, Cheryl Herrin, testifies next. She describes her son as kind, caring.
"There is not a malicious bone in his body."
It has been devastating for him and our family.
"The impact plays over and over in his head," she says. "It'll never go away. He thinks about it every single day." One after another, character witnesses paint Cameron as a good kid who made one catastrophic mistake. They emphasize his youth, his clean record. Defense attorney John Fitzgibbons brings in Dr. Michael Scott Mayer, a neuroscientist who testifies about adolescent brain development. Dr. Mayer explains that scientifically, an 18-year-old's brain isn't fully developed. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for impulse control and risk assessment, doesn't finish developing until the mid-20s. Then Hubbard calls his most powerful witness, David Robinault, Jessica's husband, Lilia's father, the man who lost everything in one moment. David approaches the witness stand slowly. He looks tired, broken. He's been living with this nightmare for 3 years. He begins speaking, and for the next 45 minutes, the courtroom hears raw, unfiltered grief.
Remorse. The truth behind this is that you are privileged. You killed a mother and a daughter. You did. I suffered horrifically every moment. It is nearly impossible to put into words the agony of this legal process.
Her dreams of being a mother, how she loved taking Lilia for walks. "She was pushing our daughter in a stroller," David says. "The most innocent, pure act of motherhood, and you killed them both." The courtroom is completely silent, except for David's voice and the sound of people crying. Cameron looks down. His mother is sobbing. His family can barely watch. David finishes his testimony with one final statement.
I hope that this sentence will inspire younger folks to behave in a manner that is appropriate amongst our streets.
He steps down. The weight of his grief hangs in the air. Judge Nash has heard everything now. The character witnesses painting Cameron as a good kid, the expert testimony about adolescent brains, the electronic evidence proving a pattern of recklessness, and David Robinault's devastating testimony about losing his entire family. Now the judge has to decide, does an 18-year-old who killed 2 people at 102 miles per hour deserve mercy, or does justice demand something far harsher? Judge Christopher Nash takes a long pause. He reviews his notes. He looks at Cameron. He looks at David Robinault. He looks at the packed courtroom. Then he begins speaking.
Because there's really nothing that the court can do that's capable of fixing the harm that has been caused to the victims in this case. And the law gives me a guideline for how to analyze an appropriate sentence in this case. So I want to start with the Camacho case. It's really the first thing I need to address is whether or not the court's going to depart from.
A glimmer of hope flashes across Cameron's face. maybe this is going somewhere good. However, Judge Nash continues, his voice hardening. The court has also considered the evidence of the defendant's pattern of reckless driving. The evidence shows speeds of 162 miles per hour on Interstate 75 days before this crash. The evidence shows the defendant was traveling at over 100 miles per hour on Bayshore Boulevard at the time of impact. The hope drains from Cameron's face. The court has considered the devastating impact on the victims' families. Jessica Reisinger Raubenold and her daughter Lilia Raubenold lost their lives because of the defendant's reckless choices. David Raubenold lost his wife and daughter. Judge Nash looks directly at Cameron.
So on count 1, vehicular homicide,
Here it comes.
the court's going to adjudicate the defendant guilty, sentence him to 9 years in Florida State Prison.
Cameron's eyes widen. 9 years. That's not terrible. He can do 9 years.
On count 2, same charge, court will adjudicate the defendant guilty, sentence him to 15 years Florida State Prison, and that'll run consecutive to count 1, for a total 24 years Florida State Prison.
Wait, 15 more years? The courtroom explodes. Cameron's face goes through a rapid evolution of emotions. Confusion, disbelief, horror, devastation. On the other side of the courtroom, David Raubenold shows no emotion. He's not celebrating, he's not smiling. He just nods slightly. Justice has been served, but it doesn't bring back his family. Cameron is led out of the courtroom in handcuffs, still in shock. His family follows, crying and holding each other. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm David Raubenold. He makes a brief statement. Justice was served today. My wife and daughter received justice, but nothing will bring them back. I'll live with this pain for the rest of my life. Cameron Herrin is currently serving his 24-year sentence in Florida State Prison. His earliest possible release date is sometime in the 2040s, when he'll be in his mid-40s. John Baranow, his co-defendant who cooperated and took a plea deal, got out of prison after serving his 6-year sentence. He's now on probation, living his life. Cameron took the gamble on an open plea and lost everything. Jessica Reisinger Raubenold and Lilia Raubenold never got appeals. They never got second chances. They never got to see another sunrise. David Raubenold still lives with the pain every single day, and thousands of TikTok users still post about how unfair Cameron's sentence is, still focused on his appearance rather than his actions. This is Courtroom Verdict, where we break down the cases that divide opinion and spark national debate. Was 24 years fair, too harsh, or exactly what justice demands? Drop your verdict in the comments. Subscribe for more cases like this. I'll see you next time.